They can post them,
The first time we handed.
well, 6 to 8
You know, I
weeks.
think that- It's right on,
On time.
on time.
That's good. But that's how.
Now, if we could only get that clock to work.
Just unloads them at only.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. We don't need any alternates right out of the gate, do we? Doesn't look it. I think we're good.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that.
Okay,
So, so can we go back to appointment of alternates? So Tom Hoops isn't here. So you would appoint an alternate to fill in for Tom Hoops.
No, he isn't.
he is an alternate now,
Tom
Tom.
Hoops is an alternate.
Oh, that's
now.
right. He was an alternate.
Doug was
You're right.
advanced.
Doug is
Got
back.
switched at the last
Yeah.
meeting. Never
Yeah.
mind, just.
Okay. All right.
Unless you guys voted me out subsequent.
It's okay, Jess, we're all getting older.
We all have our moments.
Yes, there are some changes to the agenda since it was posted. I'd like to add under other business, 1C. The board to make a motion to refund some escrow funds for James and Allison Brown for their subdivision. Kemper Land Holdings and Piper Doobie for their contractor yard escrow accounts. And I'd also like to add under 4 a C. And I revised the meeting schedule, so if the board can just take a peek at it and vote for the revision on the meeting schedule to reflect
On
on
this
Fridays
here.
being closed. Yep. That's it.
What were the changes, Jess?
On the last column to where the agendas and the notices.
Yeah.
That's changed to Thursdays instead of Fridays.
Oh,
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'll move to accept the agenda as amended.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll second. Go ahead. I think you did. I'll second that.
All right. We have a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Didn't think so. All right, so first case P 23-14, completeness review of application public hearing if it is accepted as complete. Dennis McKinney, LLS of Nefco Incorporated, agent for New Hampshire DOT. Says do with map 17, lot 3, Mount Major Highway at the hiking trailhead, lot line adjustment. So. We do have some waivers.
Right,
Yeah.
so there's one waiver to be addressed because it's a completeness item. So if you look on page 2 of the planner review, under waiver requests for completeness items, that first one under section 7F8, that's actually been done because they submitted some deeds. So they don't really need a waiver from that, but I did request a waiver for the scale of the plans, and they hadn't submitted the 10 small copies because they weren't legible, really. It was too small.
And yet we have them.
You have them because I printed them out so that you guys had something to look at, but
Sure.
the requirement is that they're legible. So I had discussed with Dennis and he says it's kind of small, so.
Kinda tiny.
We did our best to try to give you something to look at.
All right, so. So the first waiver request, section 7F8, we do not need to do.
Correct.
So section 7F7, due to the scale of the plans. We request to not have to submit the 11x17s. I'm not sure how we do it because I'm actually looking at 11x17. So do we still have to do it?
I don't know. It was just something that the office provided you guys, so you
Sorry.
can handle that
I
however
guess
you want to handle
Technically
it.
speaking, you didn't provide them to us. We did. We did. So I'll make the motion that we grant that waiver as it would have posed let's see. the specific circumstances, item B, relative to the subdivision or conditions of the land indicate that it would have been difficult to carry out.
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. So as for the rest of the package,
Let's see.
So the fees had been submitted and the sample deed was submitted.
That one got approved.
Yep, and then the other two ends, you guys just granted that waiver too. So they appear to be all set.
all right. So I'll make a motion to accept the application as complete.
Scott, second.
Seconded by Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. All right. So the next waiver. Jurisdictional wetlands. So we've got another four. Another five waivers here.
Yep,
huh?
and the fifth waiver, actually that additional recommended waiver doesn't need to be recommended anymore. Because I guess there was a survey done to that lot.
Okay,
So it just, the meets and bounds should just be added.
okay, so let's pound through these waivers. Section 7F, 7G, showing all jurisdictional wetlands is defined by the zoning ordinance and the 25-foot wetland buffers regulated by the zoning ordinance. And do we have the reasoning? Oh,
So
here's the
there is-
rationale.
yeah,
I'm
on the
sorry.
Waiver list, the rationales listed on them.
So the rationale was that the area subject to this application are used for recreational activity. Hiking. The grantee is a conservation organization with skill and experience in managing and protecting wetlands in a recreational area. And that looks like that is essentially for the next three. That would be F7G, H, and I. It looks like is essentially the same argument made. So I would propose that we roll those together into a single motion.
I have a question on it before we do it.
Absolutely.
What does this do for the rest of the public that has to do these 25-foot wetlands buffers? Because this will in essence wipe out the ordinance. If you grant this, if it's good for one, it's good for everybody.
Well, I think that this is a kind of a different situation here, don't you? I mean, this is a purely recreational application. There's no development going in here.
But you never know for certain that that's the case.
This is true. This is true.
I think Scott raised a good point about precedent.
But in the instance that some form of further development, that wouldn't they have to come back before the board in
But
which?
we're talking about this. This is what we have to deal with. We can't rule on a what if, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but it's got to be good for everybody if it's going to be there.
no, I understand what you're saying. I do.
Yeah, so the next guy comes in and says, well, I'm not gonna do anything out there.
Exactly, right?
So
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
Next thing is four-wheelers going through the wetlands and whatever else, because they like mud.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that the the use of the land, I think, or the intended use or the assumed intended use, I guess.
I
Is,
need to spell assume for you.
what's that?
Do I need to spell assume for you?
Um. Yeah, trying to find where I was reading.
I think if you want to roll these together, we gotta put that this will be removed from the zoning ordinance if we do that.
Okay, well, let's not roll them together
Do them
then.
individually?
So we'll take them on individually. So applying your logic and argument, Scott, it does not appear that either one of the findings of fact would support the granting of that waiver.
So it's not, it's not a zoning ordinance per se.
It's a rule.
It's a planning board regulation.
I'll agree with Scott. We start changing it now. We're gonna have to change it for everybody.
Okay.
I know it's for a conservation organization, but many people can put their property into that.
And I think we'd really be strongly looked at. You know, someone that uses the word conservation can get away, and the other guy, if he doesn't use the word conservation, can't.
That's what I'm just reading here.
You gotta be very careful. We're equitable to everybody. I'm not in
So-
disfavor of this, but I just want conformity.
All right. And I think that's reasonable. And so I think that the proper procedure would be that we have to vote on it. So I'm going to make the motion then that we deny the waiver request for section 7F7G to show all jurisdictional wetlands as defined by the zoning ordinance, because it is contrary to the spirit and the intent of the regulations.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Scott. Any further discussion on this? No? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, the next request is section 7F7H, show all areas with slopes in excess of 25%. And it, again, it's a large parcel here.
Well, we're just asking them for the part that's being transferred, right? Not the part that they already have. Correct? All the green is that they already have. The state is adding the pink, is that correct? You're acquiring the pink zone from
Pink
the
is what's
state?
being added, yeah.
I don't have any color.
No color?
No color.
You got gypped.
It's on the one. that
This
you-
one down
yeah, the
here.
Original.
Ah, thank you. Look at that. That's something. I got all kinds of them now.
So I guess I would argue that my understanding anyway, that of the spirit and intent of that regulation is for the construction and development of the property with buildings, roadways, driveways. And I don't believe that that is the intent for this recreational area.
Yeah, it says they're just using it for hiking.
If you come to the table,
I just want to make sure we're very clear on this.
yeah, and if you could just give your name and
He's not gonna love it that I say things.
so grab that microphone so we make sure we pick up everything. Give us your name and
I'm Brian Hotz and I'm one of the vice presidents at the Forest Society for Land Conservation.
Okay.
I think the purpose of acquiring this is because of the parking area. We've leased that property from the state for years and they would like to have us own it rather than us lease it. And I think I want to be clear, I think there is a potential that we would expand parking. We might put in bathrooms. These are recreational facilities. But it's not pure, open space conservation. So I just want to be clear. We have no plans to do that right away. But it's not out of the realm that we would come back to get permits to expand that parking area.
I'm glad you caught the cemetery.
So I
so when the.
I don't want to say that it is pure for conservation as most of our projects would be.
So
This is being bought where we may put additional infrastructure in.
So there is the prospect of some development then. Okay.
For recreation.
Yeah, understood.
I just wanted to be.
Okay, so when we read through the rationale that was provided to us and it keeps referencing hiking, it's really a little more than that. Good.
Yeah. I mean, primarily that's the focus of what any of the structure would be there for, yes.
And we've all driven by there and, seen the traffic up and down the street,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is great. I'm glad people are using the mountain and doing it. But you definitely need more parking. there.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with the town for years to try to get control of that, so.
Yeah.
This is potentially part of the effort.
Not to hold everybody up. I don't see anything wrong really, but is this 25, excess of 25%? If there's gonna be parking area put in, if we do that. If other people come and want to increase something on their own property, we require the 25% slopes and all that stuff being recognized, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And this isn't that many acres. The pink section, right?
I mean,
Yes.
I'm all,
Yeah,
I'm all for,
25, yeah.
I'm all for what they're doing, but I'm just saying again,
Absolutely,
like
I'm for what
Scott
they're
says, down the road. Are we opening up a can of worms again?
I think we are with a little bit of insight that we just gained, or I just gained.
I mean, all you'd have to do is show it on the plans, right?
Remember when we had to park down on 11D? Prior to 1970.
I don't remember them days. I weren't old enough.
Your father took
Well,
me
correct
skiing.
me if I'm wrong, but have we given waivers before for like large parcels of land? Or they were just gonna do something here and we waive the
Yes,
Yes, we have.
stuff.
Yeah. If, let's say someone had 100 acres and they came in, they're only going to use 5 acres.
Right.
Do the around the basic 5 acres and let the rest of it be.
Does this fall anywhere near that? Is this far from that?
Well, the trouble is it does to me, but that's why I said.
Oh, 'cause I mean, I realize this isn't that 100 acres out back. This is right up by the front. So I mean, that.
But it's gonna be used for public use, so is
Yeah.
the 25% gonna come into effect then? Compared to somebody that's just building their own house on a 100-acre parcel and they're only doing 5 acres? It's not gonna be for the public is what I'm getting at.
Right.
I mean, I'm just thinking down the road, I just don't wanna have to turn around and have to try to backpedal further down the road if all we gotta do is just change something on the plans.
yeah, I guess I don't want to lose sight of the purpose of why we're here, and that is to adjust this lot line and not approve any potential future development, because any expansion of parking, any structures that go in, septic goes in, that all has to come again.
Or does
Oh, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not. They just expanded the parking lot up there a few years back and not one, they did not walk through this door once.
They're not a commercial.
The state does in their
Yeah,
operation.
that was the state, not the Forest Society.
Well, let's put it this way. Who owns the parking lot now?
State.
The state. So that was the state.
Technically, the state was supposed to come.
They're not- just like the school. They never come either when they do stuff. That's just how it rolls.
Well, that's why I'm saying, are we opening up a can of worms just for a few little changes on the map that would cover us down the road?
Mr. Chairman, suppose I did this to address the concerns. I could put together a soils map of that area based off public information as well as topography.
I'm sure you have LiDAR available, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can
The,
pull that right up.
The soils designations will tell you whether it's a wetland soil or an upland
Mhm.
soil. And then there's a designation as for slope there. So that would give you the information you need for, I guess your area of concern is the pink area.
Yep.
And then, if I understand you right, if the Forest Society was to come and say, we want to expand the parking area, we want to create a new bathroom facility, all those things would require a site plan review? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so
Whether they do it or not, that's,
Well,
Right.
they've actually been here before off of Reed Road. You came then, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've certainly learned our lesson not to put a parking lot in without coming to in our past. So we do go through the process and do site plan reviews.
We make that a condition precedent?
Well, it's in our ordinances. And I mean, it's a requirement. So,
Yep.
so saying
But
you
you
gotta
know-
follow the rules is kind of a little unusual. I do like what you're proposing, and I think that that's a good start. I think that,
it makes perfect sense. I mean, because you guys have a problem up there. I mean, that hill's really used. And I'm glad it is, because that's what, the second largest mountain climb in the state? I mean, I went by there last night.
Little
Yeah.
80,000.
Mountain Monadnock's the biggest, right?
What
Is
about
that-
Mount Washington?
Is that a week?
Who climbs that?
No,
I climbed it last
we've done
week.
a
Okay.
quicker test and it's.
I'm in a season.
all right, hang on, guys. Let's keep, I'm sorry, repeat yourself.
Just the use is approximately somewhere between 60 and 80,000, depending on.
Yeah. Wow. For the summer. That's pretty good.
Should charge
But back-
admission.
Back to whether the following rules or
The tube isn't marked on here either. The cross tube. The
Oh,
pedestrian
with a snow-
path.
With a snowmobile,
You can't put a snowmobile through there.
okay.
Tried.
Actually, you can, you gotta put pallets in there first.
Yeah, and then also where the snow wings the plow over the edge, you come out of that and you might see a lot of snow.
The pedestrian, underground pedestrian crossing that you're speaking of, that's not actually on this property. It's under the traveled way,
Right,
which the state's.
but it will access this,
Okay.
right?
Uh,
It's, if we knew where it was, we know where it would dump out.
okay.
They're right there.
I think the point is it doesn't start or end on this property because of the extension.
Well, how do we know it does? We can't tell if it ends on this property. I know it doesn't start on this property on the downhill side, because that Charlie shouldn't, Griffin.
I'm required to show any improvements on the property. So if it was on the property, I would have had it on the plan.
something here.
Probably in the state right away. It's not
I'm
on
sure-
the
yeah,
property.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all.
It's all, in the- I would agree with that, yeah.
All right, so we think we can address section 7F7G H I could also be covered in that, correct?
Yes,
The contiguous upland.
yes.
And your request for K site location map. I would think that would be an easy one to tag up into a corner somewhere as well. With locus.
Yep. Really weird how the right of way narrows right down right through there.
So somebody want to make a motion on these remaining waiver requests?
What was the verdict on the first three?
Well, the
Well, the
first
first
one was
one.
no. G was no.
Was
Okay,
it denied?
Okay.
And the brook goes down right beside this roadway in, that should be shown on the property. There's a very active brook right there.
Where on the property?
Just on the easterly side of where the road access is coming off.
Yeah.
That goes right down and ends up at Boulder Lodge Cottages. And Boulder Lodge used to get their drinking water from up on that hill. The pipe's probably still up there.
Yep.
Yeah. They just use it now for irrigation, I believe, if they use it at all. Because that used to be their potable water before the rule came into effect that they had to have well water to rent cottages.
Scott, that's on lot 3, talking about?
That's in the pink.
Yeah, lot 3.
This is where I grew up, so I did plenty of traipsing around through here. Brook is between the cemetery and the roadway access.
Between the two?
When you say roadway access, you mean parking lot?
The parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
parking lot
the
access.
paved area there or?
Cemetery is right there. Down through there. It's right adjacent to the parking lot that's there, how it runs
Does
down.
that impede being able to expand that parking lot?
Well, they'd have to, if they wanted to come this way, I would go the other way to the west myself to expand the parking lot. I know there's a lot of hillside there, but you could probably do some terracing or something like that to.
You could also cross that that stream.
Right.
Across.
They need a wetlands permit.
What about Plan B they had where, I mean, they put that pedestrian tunnel in there, wasn't the parking supposed to go across the street?
Well, no, that was for when they were building the road, because the state access was on 11D. And people would park up and down 11D when it was 11 at the time. And there was only room for like 2 or 3 cars to park up in there in the right of way, which is Charlie Griffin's driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes right up to the tunnel.
Ah,
So
Right.
they did that so while the construction was happening, people could still access the mountain.
so that was a temporary thing.
Well, temporary use of what they needed it for, but they didn't take it out of there. Because they would have destroyed everything they did.
All right, so getting back to the waiver request. So do we want a motion on this? Do you want?
I thought he was gonna do for H, I, and K. He was gonna add something, right?
Well, we need to deny the waiver request would be the first step, yeah. And then with the understanding that he's gonna go back
All right, I
and
mean, I'll-
add that information.
I'll
to the
make a
drawings.
motion to deny the request for 7F7H, 7F7I, and 7F7K with the requirements of, that you would put that on the new plan.
And they're being denied or because contrary to the spirit and
In the spirit and the intent of the regulations, yes.
there you go.
All right, so that poses an, okay, well,
Second it and then talk about it.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can talk about it.
Now we can-
Seconded by Roger.
Okay, so now the application is not complete.
That is correct.
It is, well, it is.
So we've already voted that the application was complete and now we were addressing the waivers.
I thought Jessica said we had to adjust
It
we had to
was
address the waivers before we could, I don't think we have a,
only-
That
okay.
one.
I don't think we have a
Only one
voted
waiver.
complete.
That had to do with completeness items, and that was the scale of the plans and not submitting the 10 legible paper.
So did we call it complete?
Yes, we
Yes.
voted on that and we
Okay,
agreed to
all right.
accept that. And yes, so that was complete. So now we're at the point where the other waivers, the remaining 4, because the 5th one has been satisfied. The,
F7E,
yes. Because that adjoining property has been surveyed.
Correct.
that's the end of the waivers, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
You just have to vote on it.
So is there any more discussion on those waivers? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. All right. So so we can keep going on this review here. And under the plan review, which is page 4, bottom page 4. Meets and bounds on lot 3. We decided that was satisfied.
Yep, they're just gonna add those to the plan. And then the other items have already been taken care of.
And that was the property conveyed and the 3 sheets in its entirety.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so departmental reviews. Apparently no comments from anybody.
No concerns.
All right.
But
Probably
I
anxious
guess
to
maybe
have
just a
that.
question there. Did they understand that there could be development on this site? From the department reviews?
No, because that wasn't.
That's not part of this
proposed.
package.
Yeah.
We only can react to that when they're asking for that.
Okay.
All right, lot configuration, which I think we're all set with that. Deeds, you said that was the sample deeds
Yep, that was
are in. No mortgagee.
No.
No mortgager. Okay. I mean, in general, I have no issue with the whole concept
I
at
like
all.
I like the whole setup. I really
Yep.
do. I just want to be consistent. That's my only thing that I'm up against.
Yep, no.
I'm sorry.
That's good. I appreciate that.
Because it's something that is greatly needed, in my opinion. Because I mean, it's a wonder people haven't been killed up there because there's a lot of people on
Well, why don't we turn it around and try and bring something into the state and let them give you a pass.
it. No, they don't. Not a minute. But this isn't the state. This is a preservation of New Hampshire forests, the good guys.
Okay.
It's the state trying to get out of plowing the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
They already make us plow it, so that's part of our agreement.
Oh, really?
It totally amazes me how many people climb that hill. I mean, we were pulling people off, and that broken ankle in the wintertime. I was in the fire department and there's people going up at dusk. I says, dude, what are you doing? I mean, it's gonna be dark in 20 minutes. I'm okay. Oh, gosh. Climbed that mountain more times than I wanted to.
All right, so we can open this up for any further comments from you folks, if you've got any more to contribute or.
Just so I'm clear, I'm going to create a separate map with soils, topo. It's gonna have your slopes, it'll have your wetlands designation. The brook I can add on the large.
Yep.
Large plan here. Locust map, I've got some area on sheet 3 that I can put that on. The brook at the parking area, I can pick that up when I'm up there for other things, and you want the meets and bounds for the spin-off tract from the recorded survey. Do you want those added to this plan, or is the fact that there's a survey okay?
Oh, I think ideally added to the plan.
Okay, all right. And the pedestrian tube, you want that shown on the plan?
I think we should see it.
Yeah.
Because it's a source of people moving.
Yeah.
So we should see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think you understand the concept of the plan. The Forest Society is going to acquire that triangular shaped parcel shown in pink and add that to their existing parcel. They understand that if they want to make changes in the future, substantial changes, parking area, septic, things like that, they'll have to come for site plan review, and that would also require additional on-site surveying, which would be more detailed than
Right.
the
Yes.
topo map that I'm
Yeah, you're just
proposing.
doing general topo.
Okay. All right, any questions from the board for
That's good.
applicants? Well, anyone from the public? Open this up to public comment?
You're the public, Christine.
Hearing none, I'll close the public session. So I will, I'd entertain a motion.
Well, what would that motion look like? They gotta come back.
It'd be conditions precedent.
Yep,
Or-
I just added all those on the conditions precedent that it would be added on to a topo plan.
So what we're saying, we're going to approve it and not be able to react to what's provided us.
I'm saying that is an option. So we can also table this.
Yeah, continue it or.
Yeah, continue it to next.
I
next
personally think continuing is the way to go,
week. Okay,
because I again, precedence.
So-
We wouldn't do that for a site plan or anything like that.
so make that motion.
I'll move to continue this.
E23-14.
Thank you. Until the 18th of July, 23.
Okay, so we have a
I
motion,
second that.
seconded by Lee. Any further discussion?
This is a question. Can you have it done? by-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
Because you have
there's-
to get it back in by her time frame, though. What's that, 2 weeks ahead of time for additional
I
information?
can give you the deadline for that. So that is, the continued application deadline is July 5th.
Okay, thank you.
I know why you changed that to Thursday.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
No, I'll take this.
Well, I don't know what it is on the other side. Yeah.
11B.
Right, because it's Griffin's private driveway, but.
I was just wondering if that was.
It's good he was transparent about that. Yeah, exactly.
I bet if you talk to Teddy, he'll tell you.
Griffin.
All right, on to other business, old business, contract amendment for Tara Bamford. Sign.
Yep, so it's really just the chair.
Just you sign it, not us.
yeah. So this is an extension.
So this is for.
It's an
Karen
amendment.
As the planning and zoning consultant. So she's helping us.
Wasn't she here for the master plan?
Yes,
Yeah.
She's
that's
helping
done.
us with the zoning amendments for the ZAC committee. So this is sort of a final sort of run with the short-term rental ordinance and with the flexible zoning, I think she was calling it, like open space subdivision.
can't
Cabin
call
colony.
it that.
That's what that's for. So it's just an extension.
So not for the master plan then?
No, master
No.
plan, that was a different contract.
If this is a good time to speak that, we should probably look into, and I'm not familiar with it, but Agenda 21 and go through this and find out what the opposition is going to be done, because we worked on a cluster, open space, whatever type of development you want to do it, and they came in and they just shredded us. It was a bad deal. So I think we really need to be educated on what Agenda 21 is doing. And I don't know if anybody's aware of it, but it's a agenda put forth by the oh gosh, in New York City, the United Nations. They were putting this stuff forward. So I think we ought to look into that so we can be proactive
Okay.
when we present this to the public.
So my question on this is, the funds for this, these already been voted on to pay her?
Yes. Yep. This was
And-
through a warrant article from last March,
March.
Yeah, and you can use that up to 2 years, correct?
up to 5
5 now,
or whenever it's spent.
really, because it used to be 2 years.
And this takes her through January 31 of 2024.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, we're really probably just gonna use her services, just for the ZAC committee this year. And I think,
To try to draft.
for these
maybe draft some
purposes, it'll
ordinances.
be done by then.
Yeah, because I think that the ZAC committee has a real hard time with language on a proposed ordinance, because what do we know about that? We know what we want to try to do, but we don't know how to word it. And Tara's good at that.
Yeah.
So this just needs a signature. It doesn't need any formal motion.
Oh,
No, I don't think so.
doesn't seem like it.
Think so. Well, I just signed it, so hopefully we're all
Yep.
good on that.
So that's done, all right. Next.
We'll tell, send Tara, send your bills through.
So, town engineer contracts for KV Partners LLC and Ty and Bond. So this is for the board to review.
Yep. So their contract terms were up. I know that. Yes, so we did. So I had to get amended contracts for them. I think KB Partners put his in for 3 years, because that's what you guys had
Yeah, and
voted on.
he has his rates were listed.
They're
as
pretty
well.
different.
They're quite reasonable.
And I'm glad to see them both provide their certificate of insurance.
Mhm.
And I'm
No,
gonna
there's
jump on my
time.
bandwagon again real quick. We should require more certificates of insurance. And I will look at the Ridge Road up off of yeah. I don't want to call it trash side, but 4 Point Road, I guess it is. That was a design bust. And the engineer that did it, we never had any certificate of insurance. So when they flooded out the houses across the street because of not enough water was dealt with, because they probably would have lost a lot. I've asked time and time again that we get from these other engineers that are providing information here, a certificate of insurance. If the town calls me up to haul a load of gravel, I'm not getting paid until I have a certificate of insurance in there. And I don't know why these guys are designing something that has a real large impact to neighbors, how can go away without having any repercussions and or insurance to
That's
draw
what
on.
that's what part of that bond that gets put into place is for.
Well,
Yeah, except
this
you
should
could-
happen
You
be-
could have spent that entire.
yeah, the bond isn't part of the design process. The bond covers the construction of it. The design process is never covered by insurance.
So, so the rates, obviously, there's a huge disparity in the
Yes.
rates, and, Time Bonder is a much bigger outfit. Their insurance coverage, as you started to talk about, is something that I'm more familiar with seeing. I mean, they got a $10 million umbrella. KV Partners doesn't have an umbrella at all.
Right.
Um,
Well, I think it's worse than that, actually, because their liability in this, they kind of waiver most of that, right? Unless it's directly due to their accountability. The indemnification is what.
well, yes, I mean, it would be, I mean, that would be typical that they're not actually doing the work.
Yeah,
Um,
So
And
I have a little question. So we normally have like two, right? We'd have both TIG and KV.
Yep.
Well, if I came in, I'd be wanting KV.
Yeah.
How do you,
well, I guess the other question for me is what were the rates prior to these agreements?
They're
right,
still the
both
same,
last
they're
year's,
still the same rates that are put in place right now
so they
they
haven't
haven't-
raised
They
their
haven't
rates.
changed.
until December.
Say that again?
They won't change until the rates are effective until December 31st.
For both of them or
I think
for,
that's what it said on both of them.
I mean, TIG and bond, I mean, they're.
Tie and
double money.
bond hourly rates will be effective until June 30th, 2024. So clearly they,
Bond's holding theirs for a year.
right,
And really, we're only getting 4.5 months out of KV.
right. That's when they evidently must update their
So,
rates.
but KV for the ensuing year is what's posted here, right?
Correct, until December of the end of, this
KV.
year. Yep.
So are they under contract until the end of this year or not?
I don't know. That must be just when he changes his rates.
Okay.
Why not go back and ask Ty and Bond to sharpen the pencil?
Or let's just get another quote for another agency. Because that's just not fair to our people that we
Taxpayers.
inflict this pain on.
Understand it's a bigger outfit, but.
'Cause
Right.
that doesn't
That
make.
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
They can
you're
screw
paying
up
for the
screw
overhead,
through.
is what you're doing.
They got better pencils.
I'll move to obtain another proposal to possibly replace Titan Bond.
Okay, so that was the question like a couple months back was, were you guys gonna put this back out for an RFP?
Well,
Or did you want to keep the same?
I wouldn't mind keeping the same, but these rates are atrocious. It's just
Okay,
not
so do you
fair.
want
I
to,
mean, we didn't know these rates when we made that assumption.
So maybe just another, when Dana comes on behalf of Ty and Bond, is he a senior engineer or project manager? Is he billing at 150 an hour?
He's a top dog, I think.
It wasn't clear to me. I mean, he's listed as a
Had some
senior.
deal last year. We had a discounted rate for Dana's time.
right, because he doesn't charge.
Doesn't charge travel because he lives here.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's $186 an hour in it.
So you,
Is what my inference is right.
so he knocks $186 off the bill because he doesn't have to drive here from Portsmouth. So you're still paying $400 when he sits here for 2 hours. Or just short of 400. You're just not paying 586 because he
Yeah.
didn't charge a travel time.
Just remember, our public that we represent on these rates, it's not, why would we suggest Titan Bond when we can have someone less than half the price? I just don't think it would be fair to the public that we inflict this pain on. I mean, they don't choose to do this. We tell them they have to do this.
Well, that's because it's in the town's best
Well,
interest.
I understand. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it doesn't change the fact that we inflict this upon someone.
I'd be interested to see what Time Bond's rates and what the agreement was last time
What we're
around.
currently living under.
It wasn't this.
No, it wasn't this.
Yeah, I do remember it being significantly more than KV. I don't remember it being this much more.
Yeah.
Well, Jess should be able to provide that to us
Yeah, I
quite easily.
think she's doing her magic search right now.
Trying.
Rates are ridiculous.
So no one's ever gonna beat KV Partners. He has no overhead.
And how do we do the assignment of this? Is it every
Exactly.
other? Is it the first person in line gets KV, the next one gets Time Bond, the
It's
next one
just-
gets
right,
KV?
It's alternating it.
Like judge shopping.
And the other. The other, I guess, question I would have is how much has had to have been spent for each one of these firms in the last year? So assuming that their workloads are roughly equal, right? The assignments are roughly equal number of assignments. One may be more complex than another, but I'd just be curious as to whether, does Time Bond get it done in 2 hours where KV takes 4?
Good point.
I mean, but the projects are different, so it's apples and oranges.
Right,
Right,
it is apples and oranges, but that's why you kind of got to look at a 12-month period and say, how much money did we pay Time Bond? How much money do we pay KV?
Well, there must
And I
be-
think it's still kind of, it'll average out and balance out. I assume.
we must have it on record, of total hours, the total
Yeah, but
payout. So-
The town is the one that actually pays these people.
Right.
The applicant reimburses or pays the town for the service, and then the town pays the engineer.
Right. So I mean, we could go to Ryan and you go to AP and AP should be able to print this out in
So
10 minutes.
So when we charge the applicant, do we charge them the same price no matter which one they have?
Face value of the bill. Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
whatever
make
the
any
bill
money
is.
on it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So like the applicant pays the same price no matter which one they get.
Now,
So the luck of the draw,
No, they'll pay.
Whatever the bill,
KP.
whatever the billing is, that's what the applicant
That's okay.
pays.
So, okay, that's all I was asking. I didn't know
Yeah.
if it was a flat and then we
No.
pay,
No,
whatever it is, whatever they charge.
So every other one is gonna get billed at twice the rate,
Yeah,
Yeah.
depending on the luck of the draw, right?
Yeah.
that's luck.
You made a good point, though. It depends on how long it actually takes to get the job done. That's also a valid point.
So my folder's downstairs that has the last
Don't worry about that. I mean,
Um,
it's,
contract in it from last time.
So.
I will move to obtain a quote from another engineer or two.
All right, so that's putting together an RFP.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, seconded by Lee. I just, for the point of discussion, I think, though, I would like to request that we get some of the additional backup information that we've
absolutely.
talked about, which is total dollars spent with each one of these firms over the last 12-month period. And
Total hours,
yeah, total hours. Yeah.
because the total hours would be, I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't
I
matter.
know the amount spent is something they can spit out like that. I don't,
Right.
I
It
mean,
might be a little bit.
they'd
more
have to
work
pull
get
out
that.
all the invoices to actually get
Well,
the
if
hours.
they want to keep
Right,
the
so
business.
all of that goes through the treasurer, not through the AP finance program, just so that you know.
I mean, if we're spending the same amount of money, but only one's doing 10 hours. and the other's
So
doing
in the
20.
meantime, so pretty much Ty and Bond's contract is up.
So that was my next question
So what do we do now?
is when are these, when's KV up?
Well, she's looking for that. I mean, for the RFP, can we go back to Ty and Bomb and ask them to requote and tell them that they're
Well, we
not
should have the
competitive?
RFP from the last time it went out, so it should be a pretty easy, but there might need to be a
Right,
few
it's that
tweaks.
whole notification and.
So can I just clarify something? So are we not gonna even talk to Ty and Bond to see if he can come in at a lower rate?
That's
We're
why-
just gonna,
that's
Well, I
exactly
think
my
he had
point.
his,
just gonna
he had his
do an
chance.
RFP and
Isn't that what
just
this is
ignore them
about?
all together?
We did ask him for his rate.
Yeah, that
He
doesn't
said
mean you
it to
can't,
us.
that doesn't mean you can't negotiate. At least I.
No, we
depending
can,
what the
absolutely, we
RFP
can
says.
negotiate, but he should have, I think, knowing this is a gift. This is gloves off. Whatever it costs, he can charge. And so this is clean for these guys.
And if you try to negotiate, is he gonna take something that takes an hour and run it into 2? Just to keep his rates up?
Well, that's a risk you run in any
Any business,
hourly
yeah, but
agreement.
Granted, but
You always,
if a guy gives you his rates and then you tell him the deal, I've done it. We've all done it.
Right.
Just turn around, make it up on the other end, as they say.
Yep.
So I mean, to me, I feel as though he had his chance.
I do too.
KV came out and we get a few more. If
Well-
we got the time.
I think that if we're gonna put an RFP out, we need to notify KV and Ty and Bond
Absolutely.
and give them both an opportunity to tweak their numbers.
Yeah, they can
Terms,
resubmit.
come back.
Absolutely.
Um,
But I don't think we should go to them and say, hey, can you help us out? I don't think that's right.
Just
Put it out as a bid it and we'll react.
put it out as a whole total new bid.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so
So-
as of June 30th of this year, they no longer have a contract with us. So what am I doing? Am I writing them a
Right, well,
letter?
well, we
Am I-
have,
what-
so we have a motion right now about,
That has not been seconded. Oh, you. pardon me,
It was
you did.
seconded
I'm
by
sorry.
Lee.
I'm sorry, yes.
so discussing that motion. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Just so we're clear, that was to put out an RFP. And I guess I kind of amended it to make sure that we also sent it to our 2 current engineers. So would
And-
you
and I
accept
agree.
that
I agree to
amendment?
that. I
I
agree to
agree.
that.
Okay, so that amendment was accepted. So any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Now, with regard to Ty and Bond's current contract expiring at the end of this month, I mean, I'll throw out the proposition that we extend it for 60 days.
I was gonna say
Work
30,
out
but
these-
60 would probably be more realistic because these other ones aren't gonna come back in a couple of days.
Right.
Now, it says here the rates are effective until June 30th. That don't mean that their coverage for Ty and Bond ends June 30th.
2024.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, their current agreement,
Well, so it ends okay,
yeah, right on the
It's
cover page, the
except
contract. will
on the
be-
last page.
No,
Yeah.
sorry.
The one with the hourly rates on it, it says June
Right,
30th,
that-
2024. So,
The current expiration date is
Right,
in
so-
this information that's been provided to you.
so that'll be
So
June
what kind of a
30th,
time
2020.
period do you think we're talking about for the process?
Is 60 days a reasonable time period to send out the RFP, collect them?
So so an RFP needs to get created, it gets sent out. You usually give people like 3 weeks-ish timeframe to submit their proposal, then they all get sent to administration. Administration has to review them all. And then in turn, they take them all in, they sign them all in. Then they get given to me and then I review them and I come up with my recommendations. I give them to you guys, you take a look at them. So,
So we're talking next week.
So we could.
yeah,
So if we plan on putting this on our August agenda, which is 60 days out, that should be enough time for that whole process. As long as there aren't a whole lot of vacations occurring in the interim.
And that would be August 22.
If you say so.
Oh, I just counted
What's
to
the- I
three.
mean,
That's-
What's the chances that maybe KV Partners can row the boat alone?
Of our meeting?
I think
that's,
we're
it's August 15th.
It's August
is the
15th.
Planning board meeting.
Fifth. Oh, pardon me, it is the 15th.
Oh,
I didn't count right.
It's on here.
It's on the 15th.
Yeah, August 15. Yep.
so
Thank you,
to
sir.
answer your question, I think we're supposed to have two
Yes.
available.
As per law.
I think per hour. I'd
You
to
have two
double check.
available in the instance that one becomes a conflict of
Conflict, right.
interest.
Yep.
The other thing.
Well, maybe you could ask Titan Bond if they can extend their current contract 60 days.
In the RFP, I would also suggest trying to have them run for the same duration or time interval for the RFP. Not have this staggered the way that both of them came back. Because one's good to December 2023. And then you don't know what the rate's gonna be.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because Town and Bond talks about their rates to be reviewed in
1 year.
July or June or whatever it was after they talk to their people about raises, right, or something,
The
salary.
Salary.
So they do their annual salary review in June. Where KV must do theirs in,
The end of the year.
yeah, the end of the year. But we have termination clauses in both the agreements. KV has a 15-day written notification.
But the way it stands right now, we have to keep both of them on board right now anyways, right?
We'd have to get tied to extend.
Yeah, I think we should ask them for a 60-day extension. I think that will get us over the hump.
And when does KV's agreement expire? Is it the same? We kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit a couple of months ago when we said, no, we'll just renew.
Well, I don't think we realize this.
The rates, yeah, they weren't this high.
Or did we tell them that we were gonna go with them at the time?
Well,
Why I recall us talking that the rates were gonna stay relatively the same. I thought that was in that I remember that.
And one thing I don't see in this, and I see it that KV, if principal engineer for resident engineer task, they'll build the $85 an hour. I think at the same rate, if we have an EIT, which should be listed here, that's an engineering training,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
should not be billed out at the engineer's rate.
You mean
the we had that
Board
resident
knows they're not being paid the same.
Right. Yeah, we really do know that.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be in the contract.
Okay.
Because we had a problem with that years ago.
What exactly needs to be in the contract?
That,
A rate for an EIT, which is an engineer in training.
That's what they call
that's kind of like,
Is that different
that's
from a resident?
what
engineer?
he's saying here,
Yes,
if the principal engineer, which is this guy, does resident engineer task,
He's only
they'll be
gonna
billed at
80.
that,
Yeah,
okay?
because it
That's
is a
fine.
very common trick that the engineering firms will send out some little junior who just graduated college last week.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we had one of those, when my project, they wanted all the blocks grouted.
Yeah.
You know, the big 2x4 blocks. Well, those are the idea. Don't grout those. Let the water out. But it took Bob Bear to fix that. He came in and sat down for the pre-construction meeting of Hannaford over there. He says, "Are you an engineer?" He says, "No, I'm an EMT." He says, "Then you get out of here." And he got up and left. Because it was a problem back then.
Okay, so we're not sure when KV's,
Expire. It doesn't show anything here.
Well, right here,
Well,
Their insurance
December
goes to 12/13.
Yeah, yeah.
well, it says here, December 31st.
Right, rates effective until 12/31/23. So I
I
would
would've-
guess that's the end of it.
Right.
Yeah,
So we have time with KV.
so we got some time with KV, so so I'll make a motion.
Well, we have a motion on the floor.
No, I thought we voted on.
You made a motion on our, on the
RFP.
RFP. Motion second and then you voted.
Okay,
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to empower Jessica to reach out to Ty and Bond to extend their current contract by 60 days.
I'll second that.
is that gonna be enough, Jessica, for you and everybody?
Let's hope so. I don't know. I can't answer that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
you
Why
can't-
don't you
yeah.
do it for
Well, we'll
90?
just revisit it if we're coming up empty, we can just revisit it.
But just extend it for 90 days.
Well, all right, so let's do it for 90
That's what I was
days.
gonna get at.
I'll
Okay.
change my second to 90 days.
Okay,
And I'll second that.
we have a
Okay.
third. All right. Any further discussion on that matter? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, so, and with any luck, we'll have a third proposal to review.
Okay, so we're good. We're good with Mike's. I can pass that along.
Yeah.
Or should I wait?
We're gonna wait because
We have time
we
with,
send that RFP out. So Mike's gonna have an opportunity
Okay.
that if he wants to tweak his numbers, he can.
Just out of curiosity, when you sent out the RFP the first time, were there more than two that bid or is that it?
we have had many bidders.
Yes. When we sent
Other
it out,
times.
like a couple of years, I think it was 2021.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's distinct possibility of others will come forward.
Oh, absolutely.
I would think so.
Okay, old business C now is with regard to the
Escrow fund.
refund
Yes.
escrow.
So let's see, we have 3 escrow accounts. The first one is for James and Allison Brown. For the construction observation on the road.
And that's complete.
That Dana did. That's complete. So there's remaining $18.54 right now.
They can't even go to dinner. I'll move to return the $18 and loose pennies.
All right, we have a motion from Scott.
I'll second it.
We have
Multiple
seconds all around. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
All those
opposed?
seconds were almost a vote.
Okay, so for Kemper Land Holdings, this is for construction observations and he has a remaining $55.28.
He can go to McDonald's. I will move to return Kemper Holdings $55.25.
28 cents.
28 cents, I'm sorry.
Second.
You want this?
I'm just going by what she said.
Second.
All right, so we have a second over there. All right, good. Doug seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None.
Okay, and the third request is from Piper Doobie. This is also from construction observations. The amount is $17.36.
And he's all done?
Well, he's done with phase 1, I think, isn't he?
He
Yep.
is with phase 1. Yep.
Yeah.
We,
Do we have anything for phase 2?
So Mike, there isn't any other construction observation to do when he does that phase two portion of it.
Okay,
Mike's just there for the.
Because they did all the dirt work first
Right.
and unless what's
Correct.
residual is the construction.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to Piper Doobie, return $17.36.
I'll second that.
all right, seconded by Lee. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. All right.
It's together,
Just so-
nobody come out to have dinner.
Just so you know, I did double check with the town engineers before I went through with this.
Okay, good.
Just so you know. Just to make sure.
So that means I can go get.
All right, new business, announcement of new
That's
town
about all you can
hall
afford.
operating hours.
Is that year round?
Yes,
Ooh, doggy.
No longer open on Friday?
no,
Closed on Friday.
That is not entirely true. That is, it's on a temporary basis. I believe we're seeing how it goes until fall.
All right, so we're
So
on a
like
trial
Oc-
run.
October, I did, when it normally would go back.
Summer hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we'll see how they like it. That's why I'd asked Ms. Call how it was going.
We ought to do a poll for the town and see how they liked it because accessibility is.
Everyone's
It
gonna
probably
pay
gonna be-
pay their taxes on Friday.
there was a huge line at 6:30 this morning outside.
Was it really?
Yeah, so people were already intrigued with this. I
That
can
was a
come early.
cause- That was a cause for concern on our end, was we thought people come up early for the weekends on Friday, they got all their stuff done, so that's why we're kind of, wading through it, seeing how it goes.
All right. All right, so next item, approval of minutes from our May 16 meeting. And I did go through these. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me.
I think on page 3, line 90. Should that be 2 TWO and not TO?
So the,
Correct.
in the pit,
That
so
should
he
be
doesn't have
TWO.
2 bonds, yeah.
Nice job. Good find.
Taking over for hoops.
All right. Anything else?
I had something. Okay, so
Bless you.
line 166. I had to go back in and listen to it. As much as I'm trying to refrain from reviewing these minutes again. So it's in the minutes, it indicates that the case was continued to the next meeting to await review of plans by town engineer. So I don't think that that was Drew's intention because their design review ended that night and they were asked to come back with final plans.
Which would be
So-
no new submittal.
So, right, so maybe this was just thought, oh, it's continued to the next meeting,
Yeah.
but it's not technically continued to the next meeting. It's a new application. Just wanted to clarify that.
I agree. I think it's. Mr. Chairman, I'll move to accept the minutes of May 16, 23 as corrected.
I'll second that.
Second, first by Scott, second by Bill. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. All right, correspondence for the board's review, discussion item, vote on CIP application for Frank Rich.
Frank Rich, yep. So Frank Rich has been on CIP
Quite a
for a
while.
while now.
Yeah.
He's actually been our chairperson for at least the last few years, I believe. And I'm definitely interested in having him back on the committee. It's a good asset.
Yeah, he's a good guy too.
He only has 40 years of business and budget experience.
Yeah, well, maybe we ought to check his qualifications.
We could overlook that a little.
So I'll make a motion to accept Frank's application to appointment to the CIP committee.
I'll second. Go ahead, Lee.
I'll second that.
Motion by Bill, second by Lee. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. All right. The list of the active AOT permits. I just had one really silly question.
Yep.
How long is an AOT permit good for?
5 years.
So
What's silly about that question?
just that everybody else at the table knew the answer.
I was gonna say 4 or 5. but-
So we have like West Alton Marina. You reckon the place? West Alton Marina, for instance, it looks like that's gonna be expiring this October.
And they're not done.
No. And do we have an obligation to notify them, or is that a state
No.
obligation?
No, we don't have an obligation. Look back a ways. We would have had a different outcome. Just saying.
Fair enough. So,
And there's some on here that are work is being done on large projects. There's no AOT at all on here. And I'm not gonna poke the bear.
Right, so like I wrote here in my note, I wasn't exactly sure as to what you guys wanted to do with this information, but there was a lot longer list, but I shortened it from, whatever back from a 5-year period. And I don't know what you guys want to do with that information.
so are these the only current permits?
So in my note, I've noted that. So I have a current AOT permit that's not on this list.
And that is for,
So this is probably not an updated list. I can't say. And this is for Stone Meadow Commons. And it's not on this list.
why
Stone
not?
Meadow Commons was listed on here, but it was listed as expired with no amendment.
40.
So I don't trust this list is entirely accurate, although I do see Green Oaks amendment on here, but the one that I just quoted is not on this list and it should be.
Okay, so I'm not understanding.
So Stone Meadow Commons on the website
Yep,
says that it's expired,
correct.
and yet you know that they have.
I just got it in the office in March,
So they have an AOT permit.
right? But on this information from the state shows it expired with no amendment. But I have the amendment right here. So this list isn't entirely up to date. That's my opinion.
I would agree with you. Because if you have one for Stone Meadow Commons, it should, and the state website should tell you all the ones issued for town, right?
It should.
State website, I meant to
There's
say.
also a note on that website that they're still currently reviewing applications received before April 26th, that their backlog estimate was roughly 49 days.
That's a lot.
But yet,
Not you, that is,
no,
understand.
but yet Green Oaks amendment is on here and it was amended May 9th. So this makes no sense.
Yeah, well, they don't make much sense down there either.
So I don't know what's going on with that information. I just wanted to let you guys know that. You asked me for info and I tried to get it for you and it's not up to date. So I don't know what you want to do with that. If you find that there's someone out there that needs an AOT permit and you don't think they have one, then that needs to be addressed.
Slip of paper
To the
and
code
slide it
official.
underneath her door,
Yeah.
I'm not the code official.
Oh.
I got enough.
slide it under
Yep.
John's door.
Or what's the new guy's name?
Yeah, who's the new guy?
Is he-
Pedro Avia.
Is he here already?
I think it
started
starts
today.
tomorrow. Oh, today.
Started today. So is John doing anything or John?
So,
They're getting
yeah.
together, working
He's
things out.
able to shadow for the next, couple weeks or so.
Because I'd like to get my occupancy permit from John. I mean, he's the one. Then through the whole project.
Call up and ask for the occupancy.
Well, I can't call him.
And
till
he'll
next
say,
week.
wait in line.
Okay. Well, he'll be here till the end of the
All
month.
right, so.
Friday.
Call him Friday.
Yeah.
So we digress. So back to the AOT list of AOT permits, I guess what Jessica is saying and what she's said in the last statement here is if you feel that there are operations out there that should have an AOT that do not, should notify the code official. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
What's the name of it? AOT.
So the next item was the meeting schedule.
Yep.
4C that was added to the list.
Yep. The only date, so the dates that are in italics on that meeting schedule are the ones that changed. And they're in that last column way on the right. They're all switched over to a Thursday date, except for that week where Veterans Day is, it's
'Cause that's a
changed over
Thursday.
to a Wednesday,
That makes sense.
but everything else got
You had
swapped
to
over
tell
to a
them,
Friday.
yeah, come in on the 15th and, sorry, we're not here.
Just so you know, so if you guys can make a motion and second vote on it,
So we need to approve this,
yes, please.
Mr. Chairman. I will move to accept the planning board meeting schedule for 2023 with the attached paper.
2023.
Well, it says 2023.
And 2024.
Oh, but that's down there, that's ZBA. Yeah, we'll be, okay, up to January 4, 24.
There we go.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion seconded by Doug. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nothing. All right. Next business come before the board to appoint Christine O'Brien as an alternate member. Aye.
So what do you think so far? Mr. Chairman, I will move Christine O'Brien to the point of alternate member.
I'll second that.
All right, we have motion seconded by who?
Nick,
Nick, all right. It's a voice I hadn't heard recently. I mean,
Be quiet. I've been listening to them over there. They made some good points tonight.
all right, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None.
You had your
Welcome.
chance to oppose.
all right, so if you guys can make sure that you sign off on that,
Pass it
Have a
around.
piece of paper right here.
like with 6 lines, I don't know why. I guess I don't need.
I won't sign in.
Jess,
Um,
your assistant called me and wanted me to sign up for something, and I went to sign something down in the,
Oh, I think that was Tom's paper.
Yeah.
Tom's alternate
On the, in
paper.
the clerk's office.
okay,
Yep,
Yeah.
And there was a lot of confusion when I went to do it at the clerk's office.
okay, yeah, it was too, and she says, well, it could be this. I said, well, let me sign it, because
yeah,
I saw your name there,
Yeah.
so I said,
I-
if not, we'll
Anything.
fix it.
I think everyone's good to sign that
You
now.
bought her a new car, you know.
I know I did.
All right,
Be the first
any
time I-
public input
Right
on
away.
non-specific cases? Wait, is she still public technically now that she's an alternate?
Not anymore.
Well, yeah, she's,
Oh, she can sit in the chair up here now.
we'll even get you a nameplate
Ooh.
suitable for framing.
All right, hearing no input from the public.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Bill really wanted that one.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, all right.
If people want to come grab their mail,
You need that. You,